The history of Christianity follows the Christian religion as it developed from its earliest beliefs and practices in the first century, spread geographically in the Roman Empire and beyond, and became a global religion in the 21st century. Christianity originated with the ministry of Jesus, a Jewish teacher and healer who proclaimed the imminent kingdom of God. He was crucified and died c. at 3033 in Jerusalem in the Roman province of Judea. Afterwards, his followers, a set of apocalyptic Jews, proclaimed him risen from the dead. Christianity remained a Jewish sect for centuries in some locations, diverging gradually from Judaism over doctrinal, social, and historical differences. Enduring occasional persecution in the Roman Empire, the faith spread as a grassroots movement that became established by the 3rd century both in and outside the empire. New Testament texts were written and church government was loosely organized in its first centuries, though the biblical canon did not become official until 382. The Roman Emperor Constantine I became the first Christian emperor in 313. He issued the Edict of Milan expressing tolerance for all religions, thereby legalizing Christian worship. He did not make Christianity the state religion, but did provide crucial support. Constantine called the first of 7 ecumenical councils needed to resolve disagreements over defining Jesus' divinity. Eastern and Western Christianity were already diverging by the 4th century. Byzantium was more prosperous than the West, and what became Eastern Orthodoxy was more influential, organized, and united with the state than Christianity in the West into the Middle Ages. During the High Middle Ages, Eastern and Western Christianity had grown far enough apart that differences led to the East-West Schism of 1054. Temporary reunion was not achieved until the year before the fall of Constantinople. Both Islam and Western crusading negatively impacted Eastern Christianity, and the conquering of Constantinople in 1453 put an end to the institutional church as established under Constantine, though it survived in altered form. In the early Middle Ages, missionary activities spread Christianity west and north. Monks and nuns played a prominent role in establishing Christendom, which influenced every aspect of medieval life. From the 9th century into the 12th, politicization and Christianization went hand in hand, developing East Central Europe and Russia. Various catastrophic circumstances, combined with a growing criticism of the Catholic Church in the 23 and 2500s, led to the Protestant Reformation and its related reform movements. Reform and its Catholic counterpart, the Counter-Reformation, were followed by the European Wars of Religion, the development of modern concepts of tolerance, and the Age of Enlightenment. Christianity also influenced the New World through its connection to colonialism, its part in the American Revolution, the dissolution of slavery in the West, and the long-term impact of Protestant missions. In the 21st century, traditional Christianity has declined in the West, while new forms have developed and expanded throughout the world. Today, there are more than 2 billion Christians worldwide, and Christianity has become the world's largest and most widespread religion 12 within the last century. The center of growth has shifted from west to east and from the north to the global south. Little is fully known of Christianity in its first 150 years. Sources are few. This and other complications have limited scholars to probable rather than provable conclusions, based largely on the biblical book of Acts, whose historicity is debated as much as it is accepted. 89. According to the Gospels, Christianity began with the itinerant preaching and teaching of a deeply pious young Jewish man, Jesus of Nazareth. 10. Virtually all scholars of antiquity accept that Jesus was a historical figure when 12 his followers came to believe Jesus was the Son of God, the Christ, a title in Greek for the Hebrew term Messiah meaning the Anointed One. Jesus was crucified c. at 3033 in Jerusalem, and after his death and burial, his disciples proclaimed they had seen him alive and raised from the dead. Thereafter he was said to be exalted by God. 310. These became founding doctrines of Christianity. 14. It was amongst a small group of Second Temple Jews, looking for an anointed leader Messiah or king from the ancestral line of King David, that Christianity first formed in relative obscurity. 5:13 Peter became the leader of the 12 disciples that Jesus had trained. 16 Tradition, and some evidence, supports Peter as the organizer and founder of the church in Rome, which already existed by 57 AD when Paul arrived there. 17 Paul was a former persecutor of the church who later became a follower. 18 The Jerusalem Church, led by James the Just, brother of Jesus, described themselves as disciples of the Lord and followers of the way. 9:20 according to Acts 9:21 and 11:22. A settled community of disciples at Antioch were the first to be called Christians. 230 24 and 25. While there is evidence in the New Testament Acts 10 suggesting the presence of Gentile Christians from the start, most early Christians were actively Jewish. 26 Jewish Christianity was foundational and remained influential in Palestine, Syria, and Asia Minor into the 2nd and 3rd centuries. 27 and 28 Judaism and Christianity eventually diverged over disagreements about Jewish law, Jewish insurrections against Rome which Christians did not support, and the development of Rabbinic Judaism by the Pharisees, the sect which had rejected Jesus while he was alive. 29. A painting by Fra Angelico with Emperor Valerian seated on throne, and St. Lawrence, who was martyred in 258, standing under arrest before him. St. Lawrence martyred 258 standing before Emperor Valerianus. Geographically, Christianity began in Jerusalem in 1st century Judea, a province of the Roman Empire. The religious, social, and political climate of the area was diverse and often characterized by turmoil. 330 Romans of this era feared civil disorder, giving their highest regard to peace, harmony, and order. 31 Piety equaled loyalty to family, class, city, and emperor demonstrated through the practices and rituals of the old religious ways. 32. Christianity was largely tolerated, but some also saw it as a threat to Romanness, which produced localized persecution by mobs and governors. 23-34 The first reference to persecution by a Roman emperor is under Nero, probably in 64 AD, in the city of Rome. Scholars conjecture that the apostles Peter and Paul were killed then. 35 and 250. The Emperor Decius made it a capital offense to refuse to make sacrifices to Roman gods, resulting in widespread persecution of Christians. 26-37 Valerian pursued similar policies later that decade. The last and most severe official persecution, the Diocletianic persecution, took place in 303-311.